The Louisiana Legends Gala is brought to you by the law offices of Fishman Haygood LLP. With a commitment to professionalism and civic engagement, Fishman Haygood is proud to join LPB in honoring the best and brightest of Louisiana. More at fishmanhaygood.com. Jones Swanson Haddell, a law firm deeply committed to protecting Louisiana's unique history and coastal wetlands, is privileged to support the 2024 Louisiana Legends, who share our dedication to making meaningful impacts in the magnificent state of Louisiana.
Well, hello there, and welcome to the 2024 Louisiana Legends Gala. It was my privilege to be honored as a Louisiana Legend back in 2001, and now it is my distinct honor to welcome the newest class of Legends inductees. You join a prestigious group of individuals who have made a lasting impact in their respective fields. From the current U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield, to legendary country artist Kix Brooks and NFL great Terry Bradshaw. You are now part of this distinguished group. Each one, you have left an indelible mark on Louisiana. And tonight, we welcome you, our 6 new honorees, to the Louisiana Legends family. Congratulations to you all. May your legacy continue to inspire generations to come. Proud of you.
You said Bradshaw?
Since 1990, LPB has honored the best and brightest who have brought acclaim both to themselves and to Louisiana, earning them the distinction of Louisiana Legend. Welcome to the Louisiana Legends Gala.
Hi, I am Robin Merrick, co-host for this evening's gala, and what a charming introduction that was. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to Robin Roberts.
Indeed, and I'm John Dennison, and what a great way to begin this celebratory evening with all of you tonight. And yes, Michael Strahan, Terry Bradshaw, was honored as a Louisiana Legend in 2009. Welcome to the Louisiana Historic Old State Capitol as we gather for the 2024 Louisiana Legends Gala. And we're thrilled to have you with us for this live broadcast. It is truly special to come together to honor a new class of inductees whose contributions have greatly enriched our state. Tonight we pay tribute to their remarkable performances and achievements. I would also like to give a warm welcome back to our esteemed former honorees who are joining us this evening, and we want to let you know that your presence here tonight adds immeasurable significance to this celebration. Thank you.
The Louisiana Legends Gala was created in 1990 to honor the accomplishments of our state's best and brightest. Louisiana's own sons and daughters who have distinguished themselves in a variety of disciplines, from the judiciary and sports to philanthropy and public service. They join a prestigious group of 161 past Louisiana legends, which include Grammy Award winners, pioneers in education, world-renowned chefs, a Nobel Prize recipient, and the former director of NASA's Johnson Space Center.
And tonight marks 34 years of celebrating Louisiana Legends. This evening we are honoring 6 new honorees. And we would like to express first our appreciation to Secretary of State Nancy Landry and her staff for allowing us to broadcast from Louisiana's old state capitol. It is always a privilege for us to present the gala and welcome our Louisiana Legends honorees and guests to this magnificent historical landmark and museum. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to introduce the 2024 Louisiana Legends. former LSU and Major League Baseball great Todd Walker.
Recognized as a trailblazer in the judiciary, the Honorable Burnett Joshua Johnson.
Lifelong public servants, authors, and human rights advocates, Donna and the Honorable John Bell Edwards.
Award-winning actor of stage and screen for more than 3 decades, Wendell Pierce.
And the man behind LSU football for over 45 years, Dr. Sam Nader. Ladies and gentlemen, our 2024 Louisiana Legends. Let's begin with a 12-year Major League Baseball veteran, a member of the LSU Athletic Hall of Fame and the College Baseball Hall of Fame, regarded as one of the greatest hitters in SEC history. Let's learn a little more about Todd Walker.
He's a big Christian. He's obviously a great athlete. He's unbelievably special. He's gifted.
Whatever he puts his heart and hands and mind to, he always brings it to legendary status.
We're really proud to have had Todd Walker, not only as a great player, but as a great person.
On May 25, 1973, in Bakersfield, California, Art and Donna Walker welcomed their first child, Todd, into the world. Not long after, the Walker family embarked on a pivotal journey southeast, settling in Bossier City, Louisiana. This relocation was more than a change of scenery. It was the planting of Todd's destiny in a region famously passionate about baseball.
He had longer hair, a little bit longer, and we're like, who is this guy? But as soon as we saw him on the playground and he showed up to our baseball practices, football practices, we were like, instantly, we respected him.
Todd's early days were filled with the crack of the bat, the cheer of the crowds, and the endless possibilities that lay within the game of baseball.
Growing up, at some point in our adolescence, I batted in front of him. And that's the worst position in the world you want to be with him coming behind you. Because if I did something that was, if I hit a double, he hit a triple or a home run every time. I mean, he'd eclipse me.
It was here in the vibrant fields of Louisiana that his love for the game blossomed. But it didn't happen without sacrifice.
A lot of other friends would go, hey, we're gonna go have fun. You can catch up with us later. We learned from the beginning, this guy, he's different and he's striving for perfection. Whatever he is gonna do in life, we knew it was gonna be off the charts.
Todd's talent and work ethic led him to Louisiana State University, where he became a standout star, guiding the Tigers to a College World Series championship in 1993.
Todd was the best 3-year player that I have ever had at Louisiana State University. He was great as a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior. And of course, we won the national championship, and he was Player of the Year in 1993. He can do it all.
Todd's professional journey was set in motion. In 1994, the Minnesota Twins selected Todd in the Major League Baseball draft.
He was selected the 8th pick. So that means there were only 7 people in the country that they figured would be a better shot to make the big leagues than he.
Another left-handed hitter. 2 up here in the 11th.
Todd rapidly ascended the major leagues, showcasing a blend of hitting prowess and on-field intelligence. His career spanned 12 seasons with several teams, including the Twins, Colorado Rockies, Cincinnati Reds, Boston Red Sox, Chicago Cubs, San Diego Padres, and Oakland Athletics. While he faced both triumphs and trials, his clutch hitting, resilience in overcoming injuries, and ability to adapt to new teams made him a pivotal player in every lineup he joined.
You know, baseball's a failure sport, he likes to say, which is very true. You're only going to get a hit 3 times out of 10 times you go up there and hit. And he could do it with the best of them.
The Sports Information Department from LSU said that we have 7 former players that are in the major leagues, like Todd was. It's so rare that it's hundreds of thousands to 1 that you can make it. But to stay there for as long as he did, for double-digit years, puts you in the top 2% of the 20% of all the people that have played big league ball.
If there were 2 things that I could say about Todd, it would be his love for God and his love for family, and it drives him. And those deep desires to walk in all that God has for him. And it's, you know, even though he's a legend in baseball, he hasn't even scratched the surface of the legendary things that God wants to do inside of him.
Married to his college sweetheart Katie, the couple's journey exemplifies mutual support and unwavering partnership.
We've been married 24 years. We're married December of 1999 and we're beautiful children, and they are all making a life of their own and enjoying the things that baseball and that Todd's ability and his drive gave us as a family.
From Bossier City to the big leagues, Todd's story is a reminder that no dream is too distant, no ambition too bold.
Ladies and gentlemen, Todd Walker.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Congratulations. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much to the LPB family for making me a part of the Louisiana Legends class. You know, I've been walking around the house for years telling my family I was a legend, but it doesn't land. They don't buy it. So I'm going to take this medal and pin it to the wall. You know, I met a lot of influential people in my time here in Baton Rouge. We lost a great one a few weeks ago in Tom Green. His son, Craig Green, was my college roommate. And it was through the Green family and others that taught me what it meant to respect other people and be nice and love on other people. And the older I get, the more I value those lessons. Sam Nader was another guy that I got that from in Baton Rouge. Just by being around him, you knew there was something different. You know, you learn lessons like it's nice to be important, it's nice to stand up here, but it's more important to be nice. And it almost didn't happen. I tore my rotator my junior year in high school, and I couldn't throw anymore. And Dr. Edwards, who did the surgery, said, you got a 50-50 chance of ever playing again. And that was a spiritual moment and a time to figure out what I would do if I didn't have baseball. And we had the surgery, I rehabbed, I moved from shortstop, second base, shorter throw, and I came to Baton Rouge. Skip took a chance on a broken wing, 6 foot, 160-pound kid from Bossier City, Louisiana. And they had just won the national championship in 1991. And I come in the fall of 1991 and with a stacked roster. I was the 3rd string second baseman behind Keon Cook and Mike Neal. And I remember taking ground balls and just thinking, I'm just happy to be here. This is fun. You know, I'm mixing up with the best. And I wasn't very smart, but I knew if I put the ball in play every time that I'd have a chance to hit for a high average. I ended up hitting a home run off our All-American closer, Rick Green. And it played out in the fall where I walked in Skip's office at the end of the fall, and I remember it like it was yesterday. He said, if the season started tomorrow, you would start at second base. And he changed my life that day.
Fast forward, we're in Omaha my sophomore year, College World Series. We're playing Long Beach State. We're knotted in a 3-3 tie in the 9th inning. Long Beach State pins 2 on us in the top of the 9th, and we got 3 outs and we're going home. And I didn't know at the time, I know it now, what a difference that would have made in my life. And we had the bottom of our order coming up too. But you can imagine the dugout. Everybody had their hats on backwards, blood, sweat, tears, crying, praying. I was praying, and just hoping that this would work out. This is the semifinal. To go to the national championship game, I want to say it was the next day. It was noon on CBS, only 1 game back then, and we're down by 2. Adrian Antonini, our 8-hole hitter, comes up on a 2-1 count. He rips a base hit up the middle. He gets pinch ran for a guy named Ryan Huffman. He's a quarterback on the football team. He played with us. And Skip pinch hits a guy named Mark Stocco for Kenny Jackson, our first baseman. And Stocco, a left-handed hitter, could hit a home run, tie it up for us. But Long Beach State had one of the best lefties in the country, and a guy named Gabe the Blade Gonzalez. He was so good, he had a nickname, the Blade. Slinging the ball all over the place, very accurate. Lefty on lefty matchup. Mark Stocco fouls off a few pitches and strikes out. But it brought up our leadoff hitter, Jason Williams, who I think right now still holds the record for runs scored. He's from down the road in Gonzales, Santa Monica High School. They beat us in the state championship game, so can't beat them, join them. Jason Williams comes up, and on a 3-1 pitch, the Blade throws it above his front knee and below his back knee, and everybody freezes, including the umpire, because I think it was a strike. And the umpire calls it ball 4, and it was 1st and 2nd with 1 out. And Armando Rios comes to the plate. He was a left-handed hitter as well. And he had just won the national championship with the 1991 team. He was probably one of the better center fielders, if not the best center fielder in the game in college baseball that year, 1993. And he takes ball 1. He fouls it off the second pitch. And on a 1-1 count, he takes the ball the other way, hits it in the gap. It goes off the wall, 2-run score. You can imagine the dugout's just going nuts, and I get chills thinking about it now. But he tied the game at 5, and Armando's is standing at second base with 1 out. At that point, Gabe had thrown 1 or 2 pass balls all year, and he throws one in the dirt to Russ Johnson, goes to the backstop, and Armando goes to third base with 1 out. So now all of a sudden Russ doesn't have to get a base hit, he just has to put it in the outfield, and we win. And at that point, Skip walks to me on deck. I'm behind Russ. He goes, he's going to walk Russ Johnson intentionally, and they're going to walk you to get to Harry Barrios. That loads the bases, forces it any bags, double play gets them out of the inning. They do walk Russ, and I'm walking to the plate, digging myself a little bit, think they're going to walk me too. And the catcher gets down and gives the sign and said, they're coming at me. Uh-oh. And it's Gabe the Blade. I'm a left-handed hitter. It's a tough at bat. He throws ball 1. He throws a great changeup. I wave and miss by 5 feet. But at the third pitch, I thought, all right, that's part of hitting, right? You make an adjustment. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to wait on this pitch. And I hit it right at the defensive replacement at first base, a guy named Jeff Swanson. And if he catches it, he steps on first base, double play, they're out of the inning, and my life might be different. It nicks off his glove, and when you hear about the game of inches, game of millimeters, it goes into right field. We win the game 6-5. We play for the national championship, I want to say the next day. Brett Laxton strikes out 16, and we beat Wichita State 8-0 for the second national championship here. And I tell you all that to say, I can't remember where I put my coffee this morning. I'm in a hotel room. I'm in a hotel room. It can't be very far. I still can't find it. But I can remember what happened 30 years ago when I was here in Baton Rouge. What an influence my teammates and the people that I mentioned, among others, had on my life, and I'm so grateful. You know, Skip would call us in the outfield before every game, and he'd give us his speech, some motivational speech. He went and looked up, try to motivate you. The Aztecs beat the Romans, something like that. But then he'd say, tonight, you represent your family, your school, and your maker. Tonight, let's play like champions. He said that every game. So I'm thankful to the LPB tonight for allowing me to represent my family, the greatest university in the country, LSU, in Baton Rouge, and my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, through which all things are possible. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Her professional career has included a series of firsts. One of the first African American women to attend and graduate from LSU Law Center, the first woman elected to serve as judge on the Orleans Parish Civil District Court, and the first African American Chief Justice of Louisiana. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Burnett Joshua Johnson.
If I had to use two words to describe Chief Justice Burnett Joshua Johnson, I would describe her as a pioneer. I would describe her as a trailblazer.
She's a brilliant woman. I would describe my mom as a quiet force. She loves her family. When she talks, people listen.
I think about her graceful tenacity, her kindness to so many people, no matter their walks of life. And I think, most importantly, I think about the fact that she has always had as her North Star fairness and equity for everyone.
In 1943, in the historic town of Donaldsonville, Louisiana, a future trailblazer was born, Burnett Joshua Johnson. When Burnett was 5 years old, she and her two brothers moved with their parents, Olivia and Frank Joshua, to New Orleans.
My grandmother was a seamstress, and she worked for a sewing factory here in New Orleans, and my grandfather was construction. He worked for Bill Brothers and helped build the interstates around the city. So just a loving working class family.
Chief Justice Johnson's journey began with remarkable determination. A valedictorian from her still segregated high school, Walter L. Cohen, she graduated at just 16 years old.
Received an academic scholarship to go to Spelman, and I think it's unheard of for someone in the segregated South to leave your home where you've never really been outside of New Orleans and just up and say, I'm going to Atlanta for college, but she did. And to my grandparents' credit, they supported her. I'm sure they were scared.
At Spelman College, Burnett's leadership qualities and academic excellence continued to flourish. Her time at the renowned HBCU played a pivotal role in advancing her aspirations. It was there that Burnett's resolve to pursue law solidified. Burnett graduated from Spelman in 1964, then worked for a year desegregating public schools, persuading black parents to send their children to previously segregated institutions. This experience greatly influenced her decision to attend law school at LSU.
She always said she wanted to go to Boston for law school, and I think she took stock and she said, look, I'm convincing parents to send their 6-year-olds into, these white schools where they're not wanted. I can't be a hypocrite and go somewhere where it's going to be pretty comfortable for me. She was one of 2 black students. Both happened to be black women. Actually, Gamille Gray, Judge Gamille Gray, who's from Baton Rouge, who moved eventually to Virginia, and my mom.
Burnett graduated from LSU in 1969. In the early chapters of her career, she focused primarily in the public sector. She honed her legal acumen as a law clerk for Ernest Dutch Morial and as a deputy city attorney for New Orleans. Her role as a community organizer with the NAACP Legal Defense and Education Fund further solidified her dedication to justice and equality.
This is an organization that's committed to providing legal representation to those who cannot afford legal representation. So she's a believer in the American system of justice, and she wants to ensure that everyone, regardless of money, regardless of race, regardless of gender, regardless of sexual orientation, everyone has the opportunity to have adequate representation in the law.
Justice Johnson's legacy includes a series of firsts. The first woman to serve on the bench of the Civil District Court of New Orleans in 1984, and eventually in 2013 becoming the first African-American Chief Justice and the second female Chief Justice of the Louisiana Supreme Court. Her tenure was marked by 26 years as the sole African American jurist on the bench until her retirement in 2020.
Justice Johnson was one who really made a difference in the state of Louisiana by being the first and definitely not being the only. Some people want to get on top of the mountain and stay there and be remembered for that, but she was never that type.
She would make sure that women, she would make sure that lawyers of color were in the room as important decisions were being made. And I'll say from a personal standpoint, she is someone whose footsteps I have tried to follow through the vast majority of my legal career.
When she got to the bench, a lot of lawyers who looked like her weren't able to work in the court system. And so every year she was rotating law clerks in so they'd have that experience. So her legacy, part of it is those law clerks are not judges. They're partners in their own, in major firms, or they own their own firms.
In her advice to younger generations, Justice Johnson emphasizes the importance of understanding the full spectrum of experiences from past civil rights struggles.
I think for my mom, she has had a lifelong quest for justice. And so as a judge, we can't advocate, but when she got to the Supreme Court, I think she made it her mission to be the voice of social justice, and maybe not in an advocacy sort of way, but she has a lot of dissents out there that speak to how our system may need to be improved or how it's just wrong. And some of those dissents have gone all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court and come back and they said she was right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Burnett Joshua Johnson.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, and good evening. Thank you so much. This has just been a marvelous evening, and I want to say to the Friends of Louisiana Public Broadcasting how much I really appreciate this evening and being named a Louisiana Legend. I appreciate you honoring my work here in Louisiana. I appreciate all of the clerks I've had over the years. I appreciate Monique Edwards, who's one of my former law clerks. I've had a lot of law clerks who've gone on to be judges and fine lawyers, and they're doing great work here in the state of Louisiana. This is a great honor to recognize what I've done and to name me as a Louisiana legend. This is special, and to be here as part of this group, to be honored along with all of the folk here, my fellow New Orleanian Wendell Pierce, Governor and Mrs. John Bell Edwards, and the others. It's just wonderful to be a part of this group of honorees. And I know my life has been one of firsts, but it's because of my faith and my family, I think, that I've been able to withstand the challenges that I've faced. But I've been reminded today that in every circumstance, we've always had, in every circumstance, we've always had support. Even at LSU Law Center, where Gamil Gray and I were the first 2 black students to attend LSU. There were folk there to help, to assist, and to offer encouragement and assistance. We've been able to withstand challenges and endure, and all of us to endure the challenges that we have to face here in the country. I want to dedicate this honor to my parents, the late Frank Joshua, to my mother, Olivia Wire Joshua, who's still living at 101 years old. They instilled in me the value of education and hope for a time when opportunities would be afforded to everyone regardless of race, sex, national origin. So I'm honored here tonight to accept this award, and I accept it on their behalf. And I want to acknowledge also my daughter, Judge Rachel Johnson, who's accompanied me here tonight. I thank her so much for being here with me tonight. Thank you for this auspicious honor. I think it's a testament to what can be accomplished here in the state of Louisiana. I think we need to encourage young people always, because there's nothing that cannot be accomplished when we realize that we just continue to prepare young people and remind them that we can accomplish great things when opportunity meets with preparation. Thank you so much.
High school sweethearts embarked on a journey that carried them from Amite, Louisiana, to West Point, and ultimately, not too far from here, the Louisiana Governor's Mansion. Ladies and gentlemen, a little behind-the-scenes look at the lives of Donna and John Bell Edwards.
John Bell and Donna together are legendary because of their combined faith-filled journey that they try to practice every day, and they do that both in their personal lives and their professional lives.
They rely deeply on each other to help each other make decisions. They help each other to be better leaders.
They're trailblazers, and they intend to take it on, and they intend to make sure things change, not just for themselves, because they're extremely selfless, but for everyone in this state.
In the fabric of Louisiana history, woven with the stories of countless individuals striving for a better tomorrow, 2 figures stand out for their dedication to public service. Former Governor John Bell Edwards, a voice of calm and reason in the political arena, and First Lady Donna Edwards, a tireless advocate for justice and equity. From their humble beginnings, their journeys have been shaped by early experiences of community, hardship, and a deep-seated desire to make a difference. Born in the small town of Amite, Louisiana, John Bell grew up in a family dedicated to law enforcement and public service.
He had a father who was sheriff, a grandfather, and a great-grandfather who was sheriff here in Tangipahoa Parish, and his mother was an emergency room nurse at Liley Kemp Charity Hospital. And so when you take those 2 occupations, it really is about helping people.
Donna Hutto was born in Meridian, Mississippi, before her family moved to Amite. John Bell and Donna's paths crossed at Amite High School, and in 1981, they began dating.
He and Donna are very playful. They get along like high school sweethearts, truly.
John Bell graduated as valedictorian in 1984. His classmates' senior year prediction, prophetically, was that he would become governor. He headed to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, where his leadership skills grew.
Knew that he was destined for great things from the time I met him when he was 18 years old.
Upon graduation, John Bell served as an Army Infantry Airborne Ranger, while Donna pursued her passion for business, earning a degree in business administration from the University of Southern Mississippi. Donna's unwavering support during John Bell's 8 years of active military service laid the foundation of their growing family. The call of the Bayou State was strong, however. Some might say it was a calling.
So he came back. He went to law school while Donna was working, helping raise their child at the time. And then after he became a lawyer, shortly after, he wanted to enter public service himself. And so he ran for state legislatures. And that was his first way of thinking that he could make a difference in the state. And Donna was right there with him the whole time, supporting him in his run for representative. And then certainly when he decided that he was going to run for governor.
To the shock of many, John Bell's campaign for governor was a success. In 2015, he was elected as the 56th governor of Louisiana.
John Bell's initial election was a total surprise to everybody. I think people expected a Republican to get elected, and lo and behold, a Democrat got elected. And so there was a lot of, there was a lot of opposition to the John Bell administration, primarily because they wanted him to be a one-term governor.
Immediately, John Bell faced significant challenges.
And I remember the day after the inauguration, he got a call from the Corps of Engineers, we've got a flood coming. And then had this massive flood event coming, and then followed with race issues and additional natural disasters, and then the pandemic.
Thanks to his successful navigation through numerous challenges, John Bell won over the electorate and secured a second term.
We had multiple hurricanes, we had multiple special sessions, we had the shootings in Baton Rouge, we had the freeze. And I think the people of Louisiana were able to recognize and see his military background and the way he handled those situations, and they saw that he never got excited, he never got mad, he never got uncomfortable.
John Bell's steady, even-tempered nature became the hallmark of how he dealt with everything from natural disasters to opposing politicians.
My brother always believed in, extending a hand and trying to find common ground. It's easy to find our differences, right? Sometimes it gets hard to find where we can agree on things.
As a Republican, I can say that there were only a handful of things in the entire 8 years that I disagreed with what the governor did. There were some, but for the most part, he was principled. He did not make decisions solely based on politics.
By almost any metric that you take, whether it's unemployment, whether it's the state budget, whether it's the number of people who have health insurance in the state of Louisiana, almost every metric, the state is in such a better place from when the governor found it to when he left it.
Donna approached her role as First Lady with the same commitment to fairness and justice, striving to improve the lives of all Louisianans.
Donna really embraced her role as the First Lady, well beyond the social and ceremonial aspects. She's a music educator by training, so she was very involved in that. And then Donna totally embraced the work that she found in the exploitation of women and all the work that has been done in cooperation with the Catholic Church.
There was a Final Four in New Orleans, and she said, okay, this is it. This is where we are going to go ahead and jump out there. And she invited first ladies from all over. It didn't matter if they were Democrat, Republican. She invited every one of them to come and be a part of it.
Almost 25 million people are trafficked every year.
I don't think there's any question that her work with human trafficking is by far and away the most important work that she has done. I think people are just becoming more and more exposed to how significant of a problem it is.
It's no accident that Donna's legacy will forever be intertwined with her partnership with the Catholic Church. For both Donna and John Bell, faith is the plumb line, the standard by which they've lived their lives.
I've been a priest 45 years. I know a lot of people who profess faith, and then I know people who live faith. And John Bell and Donna live their faith.
I think they both individually and then together have this true sense of who they really are.
They're just regular people. They didn't come from money. They didn't come from, notoriety or posterity. I love the little pickup. He's got that old 1966 Chevy C10, and the two of them driving down a back road of a levee, after they were elected, and it really is in the second term. Looking back at what they'd accomplished, but the challenges that were facing them ahead, but side by side in that old classic pickup.
Ladies and gentlemen, Donna and John Bell Edwards. Congratulations.
Thank you all. John Bell and I are so very grateful and so honored for this recognition from LPB. While in the governor's mansion hosting this event, we learned about the many Louisiana legends, their stories, and what they have accomplished and given back to Louisiana. And unbeknownst to many of us in this room, and really many across the state, of what they've done and the many accomplishments that they've given back, and the incredible men and women across our state. So it is with great joy and pride for us to be standing here this evening as Louisiana's LPB's Louisiana Legends. As the First Lady of Louisiana and as a former teacher, I knew my heart would be mainly focused on children. It was with much reflection that led me to create the Louisiana First Foundation. It was important that I share the impact I'd seen firsthand by integrating music, art, and movement into our educational system. It cultivates not just academic skills, but also emotional and social growth. And I would soon learn the impact it would also make with those with trauma. We also focus on fostering an environment where every child could thrive regardless of their circumstances. Our foster care initiatives aimed to provide a loving and stable environment for children. John Bell and I focused on encouraging and supporting all those working in the foster care arena, from DCFS workers, CACs, to our churches. This led to record-breaking adoption numbers in our state over 8 years. Early in John Bell's term, I learned more and more about how serious of a problem human trafficking was in our state. I didn't know about human trafficking before becoming First Lady. I learned it was literally happening in our own backyard of Amite, Louisiana. It's a cause that requires us to confront uncomfortable truths about our communities and strive towards creating safer environments for our most vulnerable. And because of the work we did together, Louisiana is now an example that other states look to for guidance, and there is still so much more work to do. I'm very proud to say that Louisiana First Foundation is continuing this important work along with ncphst.org, along with other first spouses around the U.S. to bring awareness to their states about human sex trafficking, to learn about their part and what they can do to bring an end to this horrible crime against humanity. Lastly, I want to say the one thing that I least expected to learn as First Lady, the one thing that would change my heart and my perspective, was about prison reform. Personally, knowing incarcerated men, Learning their stories and hearing their hearts and seeing the change in them after being incarcerated for decades has changed me forever. Being a part of a group that completed the chapel at the barracks for incarcerated men, walking through the hallways of prisons, praying with incarcerated women who have been trafficked themselves and abused throughout their lives, walking on death row and praying with those men has forever changed my life. Understanding and knowing the process of rehabilitation can make a difference is something I never expected to know and learn as First Lady. But it's like human sex trafficking. Once you know, you can't unknow. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So you can no longer look the other way or walk away with a good conscience. So you realize you have to make a difference, and you use your voice, and you use an opportunity to speak of it. You use your voice for others to know and to learn and become educated. So thank you. Thank you for the Louisiana Public Broadcasting for this incredible honor. This is an honor and be humbled to be here tonight. So with that, I want to turn it over to one of the best governors that this state will ever know. My husband and your 56th governor of the great state of Louisiana, Governor John Bel Edwards.
Thank you, Donna, and for those of you who know anything about us, you know I wouldn't be standing here tonight without Donna, and so I think it's entirely appropriate, and I thank LPB for recognizing us together, because we have been together for a very long time now, and that's been one of the greatest blessings in my life, along with the opportunity to serve as governor of the state I love, governor of the people that I love. You know, you start thinking about being a legend, and that's kind of a weighty topic, and legends are stories that sound too good to be true, so you don't know whether you should believe them. That applies because there was not a single day when I was governor that I didn't wake up or go through those gates and see the mansion and wonder, how in the world did this happen? Is it really true? But the other definition is to be notorious and well-known, and you become a legend. Well, to the extent that I'm notorious and well-known, it's because Donna took a chance on me. The people of Louisiana took a chance on me. So I thank you. I thank Louisiana for the opportunity that I have had to serve. And when we serve, it doesn't really matter what we do. You want to leave things better than you found them. I am confident that we left Louisiana better than we found it when I became governor. From the record budget deficits to the numerous natural disasters, including the 2 strongest hurricanes to ever make landfall on our state that happened during the height of the pandemic, and so many other challenges. And yet we emerged not just better than we were, but by many objective metrics that are relevant, the strongest we have ever been. And that is a testament to the great people that we have in Louisiana, the generous, hardworking, faithful people of Louisiana. I will forever be inspired by them. And I don't say those things so that you might think better of me, because I suspect by now you either have your opinion and it's good or bad. But I want you to know that the people of Louisiana are great. I want you to know that I was blessed to have the most capable, dedicated, competent public servants in my administration. And yes, the most diversity that we have ever had in Louisiana, which was a source of great strength in my administration. And I am so proud of them. To be here tonight, to be recognized with all of these wonderful people and the people who have come before us. And Donna hosted this event at the Governor's Mansion each year that we were living there. And to know who was inducted even before that. What a great honor it is. And so I thank LPB for that. I thank LPB for their mission that they carry forward every day, educating and informing. During the hardest days of my administration, it was LPB that carried the live feed every day that we did our press conferences during the COVID pandemic. They made sure that people stayed informed, and I thank them for that. I thank them for this recognition tonight, and I thank the sponsors for this event, whether it's Gail Benson and her foundation, Fishman Haygood, the firm that I am with now, and I left one wonderful team to join another one, for the Jones and Swanson and Huddell firm. Just tremendous people. Thank you for supporting this event. And then finally, just once more to the people of Louisiana, thank you for the opportunity to serve. I will forever be your humble and dedicated servant. God bless you.
Tony Award-winning actor, acclaimed for his performance in the HBO series Treme. He received the Tribeca Film Festival Award for Best Actor for his portrayal of Reverend Tillman in the drama Burning Cane. A native New Orleanian, he played a pivotal role in the post-Hurricane Katrina reconstruction of his childhood neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, Wendell Pierce.
Wendell is a very genuine and an authentic person. He doesn't come across as this very famous celebrity and actor. He takes genuine interest in everyone he meets.
Wendell is a humble, down-to-earth guy who would give you the shirt off his back, but that belies the genius, the creative force, the fierceness that he lives his life with.
He's just an incredible actor. He's also a good spirit. He doesn't show up unprepared. He's a total pro. I mean, he's an actor's actor. I've said it before.
Born on December 8, 1963, to a teacher and a veteran, Wendell Pierce was raised in the first African-American suburb of New Orleans, Pontchartrain Park.
Wendell had two other brothers. One passed away, and Ron is his other brother. He was a good kid. He was scrappy. He was fiery.
Growing up, he was nurtured by his community's rich tapestry of music, art, and activism. It was here, amidst the echoes of civil rights marches and jazz parades, that his passion for acting was ignited.
He was different because he always wanted to be an actor. And while the rest of us wanted to be, Dr. J or, something typical, he was always focused on doing this creative side of life.
Wendell's willingness to do the work opened doors for him in New Orleans and took him all the way to New York City.
Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Wendell's always been a hard worker. Wendell has always done what it takes to be great. He went to NOCA, the New Orleans Center for Creative Arts. Then he went on to Juilliard, and he prepared himself along the way. He hung out with great artists.
Wendell's career took off in the late 80s and early 90s with roles in films and TV shows that showcased his range and depth as an actor. However, it was his portrayal of Detective Bunk Moreland in HBO's The Wire that not only brought him widespread acclaim, but earned his place in the superlatives of television history. Later, his role in HBO's Treme, a series set in post-Katrina New Orleans, would further solidify his status as a star.
So I wrote that part of Antoine Batiste. I wrote that part just for Wendell. I mean, it was not like, oh, Wendell, I think I have a part, you might be good in it. No, it was written with the idea of Wendell's playing this part, and we're going to sell this show.
In both series, Wendell brought to life the complexities of urban America, earning critical praise and the admiration of audiences worldwide.
He's played all kinds of characters, and from Broadway to film to TV to the everyday man. He has personified how first of all, being black is not a monolithic thing, that we're not all the same.
I've often joked with him that I would cast him in anything from a horror film to a restoration comedy. I mean, there's nothing he can't do. And he can do it on stage. Obviously, if you saw him conquer Salesman recently on Broadway, which was incredible. And he can do it in front of the camera, which it's the same skill set, but it's honed and presented differently, and it requires a lot of different maneuver. There's nothing this guy can't do.
Off-screen, Wendell's commitment to social activism mirrors the depth of the characters he portrays. From rebuilding efforts in New Orleans to advocating for food access, his impact extends far beyond the screen.
Our neighborhood, Pontchartrain Park, was the second slowest returning neighborhood in the city of New Orleans after Katrina. His parents and my parents' homes were still there. And so he and I got together and said, we have to do something about this because our parents want to come home, but they don't want to come home if they have no neighbors. And as a result of that, we put together a plan to redevelop the neighborhood.
That plan evolved into the Pontchartrain Park Community Development Project, which built 160 sustainable homes that are energy independent.
People were hurting. They were hurting in a way that you could never imagine. They'd lost everything in their lives. And Wendell knew everybody's name. He called them on the phone to make sure they were coming out to the meetings. He wanted to make sure that their input was totally considered. I mean, he's a global star. He didn't have to do that for a little neighborhood of 1,000 home sites and 160 homes we were going to build. He didn't have to do that. But he did it, and he did it without any fanfare.
Wendell has continued to merge his artistic reach with impactful community support. He co-founded Sterling Farms to offer accessible, healthy food in underserved neighborhoods of New Orleans, tackling food deserts and aiding community infrastructure. He also invested in WBOK, a black-owned New Orleans radio station.
I think what we're doing at Equity Media speaks to Wendell's commitment to equity and justice and telling black stories and representing black voices.
Wendell's legacy, woven into the very fabric of New Orleans, reminds us that art has the power to heal, to unite, and to change the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, Wendell Pierce.
Wow. I looked at that and I said, who is that guy? Seeing that and being amongst this class of really august, amazing people who have really changed the lives of millions of people. I say that honestly. You all have changed the lives of millions of people, me included. I was wondering what I'm doing here. Then I realized that I am not here alone. I am here as the dream of so many that I knew and will never know. My family came here in the middle of the 19th century as chattel property, who did not know if they would survive to the next day, to give a few men and women ease while they had no right to their own humanity. But at night they would toss and turn and dream in hope of a better day, and developed a vision, a power, and a constitution that all of these honorees possess and have expressed tonight: faith and family. And that in spite of those who do not have our best interests at heart, we will make a way out of no way, and we will exercise our right of self-determination. While they lived in a country that did not even see them as human, they exercised what is best about the American aesthetic of being empowered by their God and their Maker and their own self-determination in spite of everything that was happening around them. They had no reason to be hopeful, none whatsoever. But they were blessed and they were empowered by their own fortitude to make a way out of no way. I am only a legend tonight because of them. That Moses generation that gave to us, this Joshua generation, that power to exercise their right of self-determination. And as they tossed and turned and wondered about their existence as individuals, what those thoughts are to them are their best days behind them, their triumphs, their failures, who they hope to be, and where they're coming from, but most importantly, what their values are. They instilled in me, those old Africans whose names I don't know, but the men and women that I do know from the bayous, the Bayou Lafourche in Assumption Parish, in Platenville, in a little place called College Point, with my grandfather carrying the messages from those that gave him that power and fortitude passed on to us and told us, Kant died 3 days before the creation of the world. Don't ever tell me you can't do something. And I think of that history that is for all of us. We shouldn't be afraid of that history, no matter where we fall on either side of it. The fact is that we came together and know that we decided to decide what our own values are and change things. That's why I'm an artist. I'm not an entertainer. An artist is someone who does that for the community the way we think of those thoughts as individuals. As artists, we come together and call the community together to say, what are our hopes? What are our triumphs, our failures, our visions? What are our values? And what those thoughts are to the individual, that's what artists do as a community as a whole. And hopefully we together decide what our values are, walk out of these doors and act on them. And that is the unique thing about the experience of being an artist, and I learned that here in Louisiana, a unique place to do it. Because art is special, and that's the role of art in our society. And understanding that history as we speak to our present condition. It's a great honor to stand in this building. I'm standing where P.B. Pinchback stood, the first black governor in Reconstruction. I'm standing here. But collectively, we got together and had to fight the forces that did not have our best interest at heart as a whole and say, we cannot go back, we have to go forward. It is that tradition that I came out of here in Louisiana. The Free Southern Theater was working in New Orleans, and I became an actor, and that sent me out into the world. And I have enjoyed this wonderful career that reflects the hodgepodge of Louisiana, like a good jambalaya, right? The sausage of the German coast, like a Spanish paella coming together, the okra of Africa. The word gumbo is literally from the Senegambia regions of Africa. But we have all shared in a culture that has connected us to this earth and to this place called Louisiana, and created a culture that has gone out throughout the world. So no matter where I have gone, in the last couple of years, Morocco and Prague and Montreal and Colombia and London and Ghana, they all say, where are you from? And I say, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. They say, oh, we know that place. And that is the Louisiana that I am so honored and privileged to be from as a culture bearer. And that is a great honor that I accept tonight. Being a legend is not only a tribute to what I've done, but actually a mandate to what I must do as I go forward. This is not the end of my career, hopefully, but just the middle of it. But it reminds me of the words of Arthur Miller, who said, there's a certain immortality in the theater, not given by monuments or books, but the knowledge that an actor takes with them until their dying day, that on a certain afternoon in a dusty theater, they cast the shadow of a man who was not themselves, but the distillation of everything he has ever seen, all the unsung heart songs that the common man feels but never gets to utter, that actor gives voice to, and in doing that, he joins the ages. And hopefully my work that I've done and work that I will do will give me the honor of joining the ages. Thank you.
Revered like royalty around Tiger Stadium, known for his patience, his consistency, his kindness, and his loyalty. These are just a few of the words that are used to portray a man who has profoundly impacted LSU's athletic program. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Sam Nader.
Louisiana was everything to him. He's faithful, he's honest, he's got integrity.
Sam Nader is one of the best men I've ever known. He's a warrior, but he's a warrior with poetry in his bones.
Sam Nader is one of the most unique, first-class people that has tremendous moral character. He's got great leadership qualities. He's compassionate and has been very helpful to so many people through the years.
He is LSU football.
Sam Nader, born in 1945, was rooted in a tight-knit Christian family with 4 sisters and 1 brother. His father was a Methodist minister, and he grew up in various towns across Louisiana, including Manning, Jennings, Houma, Lake Charles, and Shreveport. His time playing as quarterback at Byrd High School in Shreveport laid the groundwork for his lifelong connection with football. Sam's journey into football and education gained momentum at Auburn University, where he played football as a quarterback from 1963 to 67. There, he met the love of his life, Ann Gardner.
I was a cheerleader, and we met on the football field, and we married in 1968. We've just had such a wonderful life.
The two would soon welcome 3 beautiful children and eventually 5 granddaughters. Sam's coaching career started in Columbus, Georgia, where he served as assistant coach at Jordan High School. By 1970, he ascended to the dual roles of head coach and athletics director. In 1975, Sam Nader and his family relocated to Baton Rouge to join LSU's football team as a junior varsity coach. Over the next 4 decades, Coach Nader would be the backbone of LSU football, serving in a variety of roles, including professor, recruiting coordinator, administrative assistant, director of football operations, and assistant athletic director for football operations.
Sam has been here for over 45 years. Somebody all the players look at as a family member. He's the only constant person that's here throughout all the years of all the former players, administrators, coaches that's been here at LSU. Sam been here through 9 football coaches. That's hard to do. In this day and age, that doesn't happen.
I remember when I went there, it was me and him to start with. None of the coaches from Michigan State came with me. He took me recruiting. He helped me hire staff. He knew all the players. He was constantly and consistently making sure the players were doing the things that they needed to do.
Coach Nader's efforts contributed to 3 national championships, 7 SEC titles, and countless players achieving all SEC and All-American honors. But his legacy isn't just in the victories or the titles, it's in the lives he touched.
Sam was really like a father figure, I think, to the players. And not only did he want the boys to be good football players, he wanted them to be good people in the community and be successful in their life.
He's helped thousands of people through difficulties, as well as giving them direction and advice and example for what it would take to help them be more successful. So I think that in and of itself speaks volumes for the kind of person he is.
He remembered your mom and dad. You know, he remembered your little brother. He was great that way.
As LSU's representative in the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, Coach Nader guided student athletes in faith and fellowship, earning him a place in the FCA Hall of Fame.
I'm one of hundreds and hundreds of athletes that came through LSU that have forever been impacted by him. I'm not the man that I am today. I'm certainly not the husband I am to my wife. I'm not the father that I am to my children. I'm certainly not the community servant that I am without Sam Nader. He helped build a foundation for me to grow, and I will eternally be grateful for Coach Nader.
Sam Nader leaves behind a legacy not measured in games won, but in lives changed. A true Tiger at heart, his roar will echo in LSU history forever.
I've never seen anybody this eager to get up here before. Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, Sam Nader. Congratulations.
I'm the myth in this group up here, but I'm so grateful to LPB, to Marshall, and to Bo and Jimmy, really everybody involved, Terry, Avery. You know, I've felt so lucky to grow up in Louisiana. It's important to me. And I always heard growing up, it's better to be lucky than good. And that's me. I mean, I've always been lucky. I was lucky to grow up in a wonderful home. My brother Paul's here from Austin representing the family. I was so lucky with Ann and with sons Bro and John Ryan, daughter Lauren. We love our granddaughters so much. Brooks Claire and Mary Holland and Grace Ann and Sarah Jane and Alyssa, Bro's wife Holland, and we're missing just one of them tonight who got ill and couldn't come. Brooks Claire and her husband Billy's wonderful. So family's special to us, and we're very lucky in that respect. The other lucky thing is Louisiana State University. I mean, how lucky can you get to work at LSU? And really the reason I'm up here with this group of special people is because I worked at LSU a long time. So clearly, Louisiana's flagship university deserves all the accolades. And as Louisiana is unique and it's passionate and it's neighborly and it's proud, so is LSU. Those same attributes, unique and prideful and neighborly and passionate, all those things are part of the personality of LSU. You know, I think we're all aware of how fierce the competition is in college football today. And most of us are aware too that the university classroom is pretty tough competition as well. And when you find a student athlete who does both, who performs in both arenas at a high level, that's somebody special. And James Britt, Minden, Louisiana, All-American cornerback, academic All-American. Robert Dugas, Luling, Louisiana, offensive lineman, All-American offensive lineman, and academic All-American. Joe Albergamo, Marrero, Louisiana, All-American center, two-time academic All-American. Rodney Reed, West Monroe, Louisiana, national championship offensive lineman, 3 times, 3 years he was academic All-American. Rudy Niswanger, Monroe, Louisiana. Rudy was a national champion offensive lineman. He was the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2005, as well as being a 2-time All-American, academic All-American. John David Moore, starting fullback. John David was an academic All-American, and he was a straight A student in architecture. And you know, the list goes on. LSU football has had 23 academic All-Americans. And it's not just football. You know, our other sports, gosh, we've had so many fantastic young people, high achievers. Skylar Mays in basketball from Baton Rouge was the SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year in 2020, as well as being an academic All-American. Laura Carlton from our women's track and field team, SEC 5,000 meter champion, was an academic All-American and a 4.0 student. And it's not just LSU. If you go to Southern or Louisiana Tech or Grambling or McNeese or any of the universities in our state. Every one of them has a list of young people with superlative achievements. LSU has had just so many athletes that have dazzled us with their accomplishments. You know, we've had Olympians, we've had All-Americans, we've had Hall of Famers, we've had national champions. Our girls just won the national championship in gymnastics. That was LSU's 52nd national championship. 52nd national championship. And I imagine it was well reported by the 4 superstars of sports television that are former LSU football players. Ryan Clark, Anthony McFarland, Marcus Spears, and Andrew Whitworth. All 4 of them are network television stars in my book. We've had guys like Kevin Falk, who played All-American football for the Tigers, graduated in 3.5 years, went on to play 13 years in the NFL and won 3 Super Bowl rings. He came back to LSU, came back home, coached the Tigers, and is now working in administration. And we've just had 2 of our alumni come back to coach the Tigers, and they kind of represent a bunch of guys that have done that. Corey Raymond and Bo Davis have just come home, and it reminds me about guys like Jerry Stovall, Dave McCarty, and Steve Ensminger, and guys like that who played for the Tigers, came home and coached with the Tigers. We've had a lot of star athletes who've done that, coached or maybe worked in administration and athletics. Burge Osbury, Eddie Kennison is one, Miriam Seeger, Benny Brazil, Ashley Natt, Tanya Johnson, and Justin Vincent, and on and on. We got so many of our own that want to come back because they love Louisiana and they love LSU. Friends of LPB Board has 2 of our former football players, Bo Harris and Jimmy Ostolet. And it's just a pattern. It seems like everybody wants to come home. And we've had so many successful in business guys like Dalton Hilliard from Patterson, Louisiana, Tommy Hodson, Matthews, Louisiana, Jarvis Green from Donaldsonville, Wendell Davis from Shreveport, and hundreds more, really. And they're all working in their communities and making Louisiana better. I know we're real proud of Trev Falk, who has made a name for himself as a championship high school coach in his hometown of Lafayette. These young people are the future of Louisiana, and I'm so glad they are. You know, when you read another one of those articles in the newspaper where they don't rank LSU so high, in fact, they don't rank them very well at all, I want you to take that newspaper and spread it out on a table and put crawfish all over it. Okay? Because LSU, or Louisiana, is number 1 in the list that really counts, the spirit of its people.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a big hand for your 2024 Louisiana Legends. Again, congratulations to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, from all of us at LPB, we thank you for celebrating our Louisiana Legends this evening. It's been great. They are truly a wonderful group.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
The 2024 Louisiana Legends Gala is brought to you by the law offices of Fishman Haygood LLP. With a commitment to professionalism and civic engagement, Fishman Haygood is proud to join LPB in honoring the best and brightest of Louisiana. More at fishmanhaygood.com. Jones Swanson Haddell, a law firm deeply committed to protecting Louisiana's unique history and coastal wetlands, is privileged to support the 2024 Louisiana Legends, who share our dedication to making meaningful impacts in the magnificent state of Louisiana. The Louisiana Lottery is proud to join LPB in honoring Louisiana Legends. Contributing over $4.4 billion for K-12 public education, the lottery is giving Louisiana a reason to smile. Based in Alexandria, wood products company Roy O. Martin is proud to fulfill our founder's legacy in supporting the social, educational, and cultural needs of our local communities. Learn more at royomartin.com. With the Foundation for Excellence in Louisiana Public Broadcasting. And viewers like you, thank you.